Help is on the way.
A new vaccine for the coronavirus is coming, and it's more than 90% effective.
Protesters gather at the governor's mansion and his personal home. Find out why they disagree with the recent COVID mandates.
Leaders and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints break ground for the new Red Cliffs Temple. Welcome to Newsline. It's Tuesday, November 10th. I'm Allie Arnold.
And I'm Joseph Carson. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris say they're moving the COVID-19 pandemic response in a new direction.
This comes just after more than 10 million cases are confirmed in the U.S., according to Johns Hopkins University. John Lawrence reports.
The United States has yet to turn the corner on COVID-19, but
Help is on the way with a vaccine. It's more than 90% effective, which is extraordinary and will play a major role in what the outcome of this is going to be.
Pfizer says that rate is based on early research done on more than 43,000 study participants and could change.
I think that likely, based on impact, that will be the greatest medical advance in the last 100 years, if you think about it, right?
The drug maker says it hopes to be able to seek emergency use authorization from the Food and Drug Administration before the end of the month.
It is extraordinary that it's coming at a time that the world needs it the most.
There have been more than 10 million known cases in the U.S., according to Johns Hopkins University, and despite the progress toward an effective vaccine, medical experts say people still need to be vigilant.
There is a long road between actually getting the vaccine approved and getting it distributed to hundreds of millions of Americans, and so we really have to keep up our guard in the meantime.
Another sign of advancement, the FDA approves Eli Lilly's coronavirus treatment for emergency use. This after research found the antibody appears to treat mild and moderate infections. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
COVID cases in Utah are on the rise. There are more than 134,000 total cases of COVID-19 in Utah as of today. More than 1,167,000 people were tested, and a total of 1,415,000 tests were reported. There have been more than 600 total deaths and more than 6,000 total hospitalizations.
Many Utahns have begun protesting Governor Herbert's new COVID guidelines. Community members gathered outside Governor Herbert's home in protest of the new COVID guidelines released Sunday night. Governor Herbert announced a statewide mask mandate, suspension of extracurriculars, and other measures he hopes will aid Utah in decreasing COVID numbers. Some community members do not support the new mandate. Protesters also gathered in front of the governor's mansion, holding signs saying things like, "Just say no to masks," and "Utah deserves better." Another protest in front of Herbert's home is planned for November 15th.
Many Utahns are voicing their opinions on social media platforms regarding Governor Herbert's announcement.
As is the case for nearly every other topic, public opinion varies greatly. Rachel, tell us more about what people are saying.
Well, Allie, these state guidelines are a bit more strict than they have been in the past. Universities around the state have posted on social media about the restrictions. The State of Utah COVID-19 response team held a brief Q&A yesterday morning addressing questions like why now, why exemptions, and what are plans for vaccine distribution. While some feel the order is just right, many feel that these restrictions did not come soon enough or are not strict enough. Rudy says, "Looks like Governor Herbert is finally making some decisive moves to combat COVID-19. If only he'd done it months ago, maybe Utah wouldn't be in such dire straits." Wendy says, "This is not going far enough. We need to close gyms, bars, and restaurants for the next 2 weeks. Kids don't need playoff sports right now. It's not a priority. At least pause it. We might not get another chance to stop the increase." Many are also concerned with their freedoms. Brianna says, "This mandate is unconstitutional and these policies lack consistency. If this were really about health, money would not be a factor in regards to who these rules apply to and who they do not." And finally, we have this meme posted by Drew that talks about how some people feel these guidelines are conflicting. And it says, don't do anything for the next 2 weeks, but also don't change what you're doing. For all of the updates on COVID-19 in Utah, make sure to check out coronavirus.utah.gov. Back to you.
A woman is killed after being hit by a car on I-15 in Centreville. The accident happened around 2:30 a.m. The Utah Highway Patrol says the woman was walking in the middle of the freeway near Parish Lane. Investigators don't know who the woman is yet or why she was on the freeway. The driver is from Arizona and was interviewed at the scene. Troopers say the driver probably won't be charged because it was so dark. The northbound lane was closed for several hours, but it is now open. A 60-year-old man is found dead inside a home that caught fire in Ogden on Sunday. Fire crews responded to a house fire at 2867 Lincoln Avenue just before 8 p.m. When the crews arrived at the scene, they found flames coming from the attic. When crews entered the home, they found the man dead in a closet. The home did not have working smoking detectors, and it is unclear whether they had electricity or not. The cause of the fire is undetermined. The man's name is not being released, as the family has not been notified yet.
Police are asking for help locating a runaway teen. Jordan Giantini was last seen in the area of 450 East, 450 South in Clearfield on November 7th at about 4 p.m. Gio is temporarily living in Clearfield and is not familiar with the area. He was last seen wearing a black Champion hoodie and dark gray sweatpants. If you see Gio or know his whereabouts, please call the Clearfield Police Department at 801-525-2806. A man accused of shooting a gun and making death threats at Approach Umbrella in Orem last Tuesday is charged. 23-year-old Adrian Michael Coronel is charged with aggravated assault and purchasing or possessing a firearm by a restricted person. Coronel is from Sandy and is also charged with possession or use of a controlled substance and the discharge of a firearm. No one was hurt during the rally last week.
Voters still don't know who won Utah's 4th congressional district race between Democrat Ben McAdams and Republican Burgess Owens. As NewsLine reporter Elena Castro tells us, mail-in ballots contribute to this election delay.
The rumor mill churns out accusations of voter fraud on both the national scale as well as the local level. But many people claim it's difficult for any candidates to prove voter fraud.
Utah has done vote by mail now for several elections. They have it pretty dialed in. And there's so many safeguards here in Utah and in every other state that does vote by mail in this type of election that it's really difficult to have any type of fraud.
The McAdams-Owens race for representative of Utah's 4th congressional district has been one of the most expensive races in Utah history, upwards of $20 million.
We see a lot of attention from PACs and from the national parties. They may not care exactly about what's going on in Utah or about Utah issues, but they really care about that seat and want to make sure it's in their column.
Right now, the campaigns must follow a verification process to make sure every legal ballot gets counted and cured.
That's when there's an issue. It may be hard to read, maybe the signature doesn't match, and the campaigns have the opportunity to try to help voters cure their own ballots so that they can make sure that those get counted.
Hottie says it can take up to 2 weeks to count all the ballots after Election Day, and even longer if they have to do a recount to determine a winner. Salt Lake County election workers hope to finish counting and verifying all the ballots by the end of this week. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Elena Castro.
Utah voters approve Amendment G, which allows funds used to cover education to also fund certain social programs. NewsLine's Ryan Trapp tells us the reactions to this. Ryan?
The Utah statewide ballot will be voting in favor of the controversial Amendment G, which will allow funds from income taxes, which cover education, to also cover funding for social service programs of children and individuals with disabilities. The new amendment will move about $600 million from the education funds into social programs.
This new legislation with HB 357 was finally a mechanism for actually getting the money to our education family.
To make up for the diversion of funds, lawmakers also passed House Bill 357, which ensures that schools will get enough funding to cover rising student populations and inflation.
We actually are in a better spot given that this legislation is protected.
Turn all the way.
Critics say that state leaders could choose to divert additional funds as time goes on.
Once it becomes normal legislative process, you can change a bill at any time.
Additional criticisms comes from concern about the funding issues similar to what happened in the 2008 recession.
Where do you get the funds to then fund programs for children with disabilities and with special needs?
The amendment will pass with 53.5% in favor and 46.5% against. It will go into effect January 1st, 2021. This is Ryan Trapp reporting for NewsLine.
Thanks, Ryan.
The Utah National Guard is conducting live fire artillery exercises at Camp Williams this week. Soldiers from the 640th Regional Training Institute will be participating in the live fire event as part of their new training in the new artillery career. The fire will occur sporadically throughout the day today, tomorrow, and Thursday. The training will begin at 8 a.m. and ending around 4:30 p.m. each day. Those expected to be most affected by these events are residents of Bluffdale, Riverton, Harriman, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, and Lehigh.
A few leaders and invited guests participated in the groundbreaking for the Red Cliffs Temple.
What was a boggy swamp with a lot of rocks and no irrigation is now going to be the side of a temple.
Elder Jeffrey R. Holland presided at the temple groundbreaking and gave the dedicatory prayer. He, along with other general authorities and local leaders, participated in the ceremonial event on Saturday.
It's just a very real tribute to the history, the tradition, those who went before, and those who are here now. This temple will bridge the past and the future. Be a wonderful contribution.
This will be St. George's second temple. The first was dedicated in 1877 and was the first completed temple in Utah. Details for the open house and dedication upon completion will be announced at a future date.
A Utah man ran the entire Mormon Trail for mental health in 2 months. Rex and Riley Blackburn packed up in September for Rex's attempt to run the Mormon Trail from Nauvoo, Illinois, all the way to Salt Lake City. This trail runs 1,300 miles and is more than 50 marathons. Blackburn ran while his wife and their 18-month-old son followed him in a truck with food and water. Blackburn ran to raise awareness about mental health, which he and his wife struggle with. The couple started a GoFundMe page and all are invited to donate to help with their journey.
The Supreme Court justices will hear arguments on the Affordable Care Act today. Find out how many of the justices have already ruled on the Obamacare law in the past.
An employee of the University of Wisconsin-Madison rides his motorcycle through a group of protesting students.
And COVID can make dating difficult, but two matchmaking masterminds are using an online survey to help BYU students find their perfect match.
All eyes are on the Supreme Court today as the justices hear arguments on the Affordable Care Act. The lawsuit against Obamacare calls for the court to strike down the entire 2010 law due to an amendment that was added in 2017. The law was previously upheld by the Supreme Court twice, in 2012 and 2015. However, only 4 current justices from those majorities are still on the bench.
Students at the University of Wisconsin-Madison are demanding punishment for an employee who ran into protesters.
It's not going to be enough if they just are like, we'll fire.
UW students held their protest as a counter to an earlier pro-Trump rally. They blocked a power plant operator at the university with their cars and bodies, but the man drove through the group, injuring 4 students.
Christmas is arriving early at Capitol Hill with a green guest from Colorado. The U.S. Capitol tree is one famous fern. The Engelmann spruce is sourced from Grand Mesa, a Comparay, and a Gunnison National Park in Colorado, and documented its tour from Colorado to D.C. on its Facebook page with over 20,000 followers. The tour was cut short, however, and the tree arrived more than 10 days ahead of schedule.
The coronavirus pandemic has made it difficult for some BYU students to get that ring by spring. NewsLine reporter Emma Benson takes a look at how the pandemic has affected students' dating experiences.
Dating is no simple task.
Hey, would you want to do something this weekend?
Especially during a pandemic.
It's been really hard.
But many people have been turning to FaceTime calls.
Hey, how's it going?
Social distance dates and dating apps.
I feel like dating apps are probably the best way to meet people during a pandemic.
Since the pandemic started, the number of users on dating apps has spiked. Two of those new users were Toby Driggs and Juliana Thurgood.
I don't know how we would have met otherwise.
The couple matched on Mutual, the popular dating app for Latter-day Saints, and the relationship only progressed from there.
The first time we talked on the phone, we ended up talking for like 5 hours.
They're now engaged. Now, swiping on a dating app might not be for everyone, but there may still be ways to potentially meet others from your phone. A few weeks ago, a mysterious Instagram page called Matchmaker BYU sparked some attention.
I think it's really intriguing.
The idea is that students take a survey with 70 questions ranging from religious and political views to family traditions to personality types, and an algorithm then uses the responses to match people according to their answers. Sam and Em, who wanted to keep their last names private,
it's just part of the game at this point,
are two of the 5 individuals behind Matchmaker BYU. They've had more than 4,000 respondents and are planning to release the matches this Friday.
We're really looking forward to see all the feedback.
Yeah.
More information about the survey can be found on their Instagram page, Matchmaker BYU. No matter how you choose to date during the coronavirus, you can still do so creatively while staying safe. Reporting for NewsLine in Salt Lake City, I'm Emma Benson.
The NBA and the Utah Jazz are back December 22nd. A new set of rules will be in place. Instead of the regular 82 games, there will only be 72 games. Negotiations with free agents will be allowed to start November 20th at 6 p.m. The official schedule will be released in the coming weeks.
Utah Royals FC fired their head coach, Craig Harrington, after placing him on administrative leave for 2 months. Harrington was placed on leave after being accused of workplace misconduct. The claims have been tied to the allegations against the Real Salt Lake organization for sexist and racist behavior. Amy Lapelbet will continue as the Royals coach in the meantime.
Due to COVID-19, 60,000 football fans no longer fill Lavelle Edwards Stadium for games. But the BYU football team didn't let that stop them from connecting with as many people as possible.
The BYU football team is having a season like no other because of both their winning streak and the COVID-19 pandemic. But earlier this year, the team decided to come up with a message to share with the world, and that message is to love one another.
Love one another regardless of their skin color, culture, or background.
At their season opener on September 7th, they unveiled their team shirts that say "We are one" on the front and "Love one another" on the back.
For us to put something like that on the shirt and have that be our message, like I said, it's really unique. It's something we're all behind.
Love one another is just the perfect thing that if our world could do a little bit more of that, I think we'd be a little more successful.
More than just the team can wear the Love One Another t-shirts. The BYU store sells them so that everyone can support BYU football and their message.
Pretty much as soon as the football team wore those shirts, we were asked constantly, when are you going to get the Love One Another shirts? And as soon as they came in, we were sold out within 3 days. Like, they're very, very popular.
When I asked social media fans about the new t-shirts, Katie Jackson said, "I love them. Our world needs more love." And Angie Hunsaker said, "Love the thought of this being worn by big, strong athletes. Simple, but powerful." Football player Kyle Griffiths said that the team created the shirts to show off what they think the world needs more of, and that's love. You can get a Love One Another shirt at the BYU store, and 100% of the proceeds go to fund scholarships in the multicultural department at BYU. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Harley Hunsaker, Provo.
Because winter is coming. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing the sunny 75-degree temperature that we have been this last week, As you can see, I am outside live today in Provo to show you the cloudy skies and snow that we have on Y Mountain. Across the entire state, we are seeing these types of cold temperatures, and I've got to say, it's only getting colder. If we look at today's temperatures across the state, we see everyone trending in the 30s and 40s, with St. George being that outlier of 52 degrees. Logan is coming in today with the coldest temperature with only a high of 34 degrees. Here in Provo and Salt Lake City, we have a high of 39, our lows in the mid-20s, and check out Vernal with that low of 14 degrees. Now in St. George, they're seeing similar temperatures, not too much is different, with Richfield and Blanding both only hitting a high of 38. And again, St. George with a high of 52, low of 31 for today. Now the 5-day forecast in southern Utah is going to stay chilly. We are getting a midweek storm that is going to be keeping everything cold and potentially giving us a chance of rain on Friday. We see the temperatures staying in the low 60s and the lows are in the mid 30s, 41 degrees on Sunday. Now in northern Utah, we are seeing the same trend with everything being chilly and cloudy. We have a higher chance of snow and rain showers throughout the week, and our highs are only hitting about that mid 40s range, our lows in the 20s and 30s. So with that midweek temperatures, it's not going to be getting much warmer this week. So make sure you take advantage of today to unpack all of those coats so that you can be ready for this storm coming up. Back to you.
Coming up next, a new thrift shop is becoming popular in Provo.
What's up? How you doing? Welcome to Sad Boy Thrift.
Stay tuned to see this entrepreneur's success after a tough journey.
Coming up, see how many students are creating an additional Instagram account to show who they really are.
Attention travelers, next Tuesday a major hurricane will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Water, phone, and internet service will be in short supply. There will likely be panic citywide. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Dora knows better than anyone. The best place to explore is the forest.
She knows this monkey? Of course, she knows this monkey.
Experience nature.
Let's go.
Connect with family.
I love you guys.
And find your own adventure in a forest or park near you.
Let's do this. Come on, Boots.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
A new Provo thrift shop is growing in the student community. Andrea Cabrera went to check out the store in Provo. Andrea, this shop is bringing back the new old.
Yes, that's right. The new old. And I spoke with a young entrepreneur who's part of bringing back the new oldie style to the closets of Provo. Because you know how it goes, one man's trash, another man's treasure.
I had about $30 in my bank account. Motivated me to start selling this clothing.
Lex Mayonnaise is a BYU student and Provo City's new thrift shop owner,
Welcome to Sad Boy Thrift.
whose shop opened up over the weekend just south of BYU campus.
It's one block down from J-Dog's on the second floor of Brooker's Ice Cream.
Just look for this sign and go up the stairs.
We just live down the street, so we decided to swing on by. We'll see what they have to offer. If it's to my liking, we might take something home. Hello.
Collected styles across western states. Sad Boy Thrift calls that the drip. You never know what you're going to find.
I think I got something.
Sad Boy Thrift's opening weekend was wildly successful, averaging 100 to 150 shoppers on the first day.
We accept Square, credit card. We are selling some stickers.
But it hasn't all been honeys and bees.
We were homeless for around 2 months.
The young entrepreneur's sublease in a barbershop on Center Street didn't work out earlier this year.
We had our grand opening and our grand closing the same day. It was insane.
But with an iconic name and logo,
we had an inside joke. I would always say, sad boy this, sad boy that. I was like, this sounds cool.
Interactive Instagram account,
We got this one-of-a-kind Salt Lake City Olympic sweater.
and Sad Boy screensavers. It's looking like the new business has a bright future ahead.
We'll see what happens. I'm optimistic about it.
To stay updated with Sad Boy thrift hours and giveaways to bring that new old to your closet, check them out on Instagram at Sad BOIIII Thrift. Reporting from Provo, I'm Andrea Cabrera.
Thanks, Andrea.
Social media has a reputation for only showcasing the perfect parts of people's lives. But as NewsLine reporter Alex Sorensen shows us, more and more users are creating fake accounts to share their whole personality with a select group of followers.
Many BYU students feel like they have to portray a picture of perfection on their social media platforms, but also find it keeps them from showing who they really are. So some create a fake Instagram account or a Finsta where they can post whenever and whatever they want.
I feel like there's definitely a line of what you should and shouldn't post, which I kind of disagree with, but that's why I have two.
I feel like I had some social anxiety with posting on my normal Instagram.
The BYU students that I spoke with said they use their Finstas or fake Instagram accounts to create a safe space where they can share their thoughts and opinions with their close friends and family.
And now it's just kind of been like my place to complain about boys and you know, fun stuff like that. Things that I wouldn't actually like tell anyone besides my really, really close friends.
Some people take advantage of the fact that their Finsta hides their identity.
My roommate uses my Finsta to stalk someone that has her blocked on Instagram. So like that's a total perk, like that people don't know who you are with your Finsta.
But others want to learn how to share more about themselves on their normal Instagram account.
And I want to be more open on my normal Instagram, and that may lead to uncomfortable conversations with family, or some people may unfollow me. But ultimately I do think that I want to be able to share who I am, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, silly, serious, everything in between, on one platform.
The students I talked with hope they can continue to find more ways to use social media in a positive and genuine way.
Reporting for NewsLine from Provo, Utah, I'm Alex Sorensen.
Move over, pumpkin spice. It's salted caramel season at Krispy Kreme.
For 2 weeks only, Krispy Kreme is launching 2 special caramel glazes. Their new collection offers their classic donut either covered in a rich caramel glaze or in their new salted double caramel crunch glaze. Krispy Kreme will sell this new collection until supplies last.
Thank you for joining us today for NewsLine.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/newsline.